The Northern Adelaide State Secondary Schools Alliance is a confederation of 11 schools. The Alliance combines resources across all its schools to offer a wide variety of VET programs, providing opportunities and career pathways for students living in an area with low employment.
One of the things that is fantastic about being in NASA is that we have such a wide scope of courses that our kids can actually be involved in. If we were just working within the school, it would be very few courses that we could provide, and we wouldn't have the specialisation, whereas working in NASA gives our kids the opportunity to really get out there and get quality training.
We have a Pathways group for NASA, and on that Pathways group we have representatives from Department of State Development, from industry, business, from the local councils, and of course school representation and parent body representation.
VET's delivered by appropriately trained secondary teaching staff, but also delivered on-site by registered training organisations, and of course we have the traditional model of where some students will need to go to the RTO's facilities to be able to have the program delivered.
The Workabout Centre is a school to work transition model where we focus on the school retention, SACE completion and post-school pathways for Aboriginal high school students. Every week we run a work readiness course. It's called 5 Steps to Work Readiness. So a student will come to us and we'll help them identify some goals, and they do an individual training plan, and through that we help them prepare for their first experience in employment or the training environment, giving them skills like resumes and cover letters, how to apply for work and training, interview skills. And through that, they'll identify, I need to get my driver's license, or I need to get a white card. I'd like to undertake construction training, or I'd like to be a nurse. And then we really focus on what that involves for them and helping them set out what training they need to do and a bit of a timeline to achieve that.
Monitoring 900 students across 75 locations every week could seem quite intense, but we use a program called WebVet. What it does is mark the attendance, competency progression and structured work placements for all the students. The VET leaders in their home school live can go online into the system and check whether their students are attending at the course that day. They can also see how the trainer is marking them down as progressing through their competencies, and therefore the schools can do whatever backup is required and in a timely fashion to ensure as much success as possible for the students.
One of our key lessons across the NASA program is that we needed to structure VET on key days. So all of our VET programs are now run on a Tuesday and Thursday. That wasn't always the case, it was whatever day suited the school, but that's just not suitable for really integrating it within the students' timetable and structure. So that was kind of the key lesson we learnt really early, is to make sure those days are specified VET days, so we're not cutting across their maths, English and physics and chemistry subjects, and they're not missing out on too much of their core subjects.
One of the things that we know is it's really important to be reviewing the quality of our VET programs to make sure that we are delivering the kind of learning that students are interested in. So we do that by running a series of student surveys over the course of the duration of the program, and then looking at that data we'll make some assessments about what aspects of the program might need to be modified or changed, what's going well, and so we would strengthen that up. And in some cases whether or not the program is actually servicing our students and whether or not it needs to be considered to be exchanged for a different delivery. It doesn't matter whether you're doing an academic program or whether you're doing a VET program, your opportunities are exactly the same. In fact, one of the things we know is that in some cases, often students that have come via the VET pathway and then the university pathway make much more desirable employees at the end because they've got a practical basis as well as an academic basis.